Hello, so I have been back in Japan for almost a week now, and I think I have mostly got over all of the jet lag, which is weird because it took me about 2 weeks when I was in England to adjust to the English time zone, but only, I don't know, I'd say, well, less than a week to adjust back to the Japanese time zone that I've been used to. And I'm trying to remember what it used to be like when I was living in England and then I'd visit Japan for, I don't know, a couple of weeks, couple of months or something like that, and then go back to England. Maybe it was more easy to sort of like get back into like the time zone that you were used to. But yeah, apart from like feeling really bad this one morning, like, and feeling not great the next morning, I haven't really noticed it too much. I've been feeling very tired in the morning, but you know, that can happen normally anyway. So it feels like I've got over it really quickly, which is great. It's great because one of the things that I found when I was in England, I thought that I was going to have loads and loads of free time to record loads of podcasts for you when I was in England, and I didn't really have that much time in the end. Well, for a few reasons. One, I was a lot busier than I thought I'd be. There were lots of people who wanted to meet me and spend time with me, which is good, you know. That's what I went back to England for. And another reason was the jet lag, which seemed to be worse for me in the mornings, which is when I record podcasts. And I felt a lot more awake in the evenings, like, you know, my body felt awake. But because it was still like the evening, I had just done a full day of something, I was still tired at the end of the day. So so the evenings weren't a great time to record podcasts either. I did record a few in the evening because I just felt like I had no choice in the end. You know, I just couldn't find a good time to do it. And then, of course, there was the problem that I had with all of the allergies. They were really bad. I don't know what on earth was going on there, but it was hard to breathe at night, so I didn't get, you know, very good sleep, and I think that made me extra tired in the morning. So I don't know, lots of weird things. I've never had this experience before because I've never had to travel like back to England after a long time. But yeah, it seems that I'm allergic to England, which is really weird. I mean, I'm hoping the next time I go back, I'm going to go back in maybe the winter. And maybe things will be completely fine then. But yeah, since I've come back to Japan, all good. I think even when I got onto the plane and I'd been in the air for a few hours, I sort of felt my breathing like getting better, and I don't know what that was. So weird. But it was there like constantly for like the whole 2 weeks, and it did get on my nerves quite a bit, to be honest. I tried taking some medicine for it that's meant to help you with your allergies, but it didn't seem to do anything at all. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do if I go back in the summertime. It's don't suffer, I should imagine. I think I'm just going to suffer like I did. Anyway, things are feeling pretty normal after a week here. At first, it did feel a bit weird being back. It felt like I'd been away longer than 2 weeks, actually. It felt like I was coming back after, say, I don't know, maybe like 2 months or something. Like, I mean, everything looked the same, obviously, but it just felt like stepping back into an old dream or something, you know, something I'd left behind or something, and going back to it, like picking up my old life. But, you know, after just almost a week here, it just feels normal again. And now England feels, well, my recent trip to England feels a bit like a bit like it never happened. Like it's just memories or something. It's weird. It's really weird how the mind tries to deal with these like big changes, you know, big changes in time or, you know, distance and things like that. I remember walking around the streets and walking around a local park and just thinking, I think it was only like, you know, a day ago, 2 days ago or something that I was actually standing in England. And it just never feels like that because you don't, I mean, maybe it would if I came to Japan by train or by boat or something like that. But because it's a plane and you just like, you're stuck in this like small compartment in this seat for like however many hours, and then you just sort of get off it in this like new country. You've landed in a different country. You just you don't see like the world going by as you're traveling. You don't. Well, maybe you've got a window seat and you can look at it down below, but you don't really experience it. Like if you did. I think, mind you, it's probably the same with a boat, isn't it? Let's be honest. Like if you're on a boat, you'd be looking out at the ocean and that wouldn't look like anything, just lots of water all around you. So that's probably the same. But maybe like if you were going by car, from England to Japan, you'd have to go by train, boat, probably car as well. Probably like all three to get there. I think you can do it. It would take forever. And you'd have to go all through Russia and all kinds of places. And that... I can't even imagine someone doing a journey like that. It would just be crazy. But I think if you did that, you would feel like, yes, I have traveled, this really, really far distance. Yes, I have traveled like half of the way around the world. But because we fly in planes, don't seem to notice it. Anyway, like I was saying, everything's back to normal. Everything's good. And I'm just getting on with life as usual, I guess. One thing I have been really enjoying, and I told you about this, I think in the last episode, is that I brought 2 loaves of wholemeal bread, brown bread, back with me from England, and we've been enjoying those. Not just me, my wife loves it as well, and she thinks that the bread is nicer than the bread you get in Japan, and I'm going to agree, because I think I've mentioned it many times before on this podcast. The bread that you get from the supermarkets over here in Japan really isn't that good. And I'm being kind when I say it's really not that good. And then, I've even bought bread from bakeries and been pretty disappointed as well. So what I've decided to do is I have purchased a bread maker, which... interestingly, in Japanese, it's called a home bakery, which I think is quite a cute name for it. And I suppose bread makers normally don't just make bread. Even though we call them bread makers in English, they've usually got this menu of different things they can make on there, like jam and yogurt and cheese and all kinds of things, cakes as well. So, maybe a home bakery is a good name for it. But it just sounds a bit funny to me, like an entire bakery for your house. It's just this little box that cooks things. But anyway, so I have purchased one of those and I'm yet to make bread with it, but I'm looking forward to giving that a go. It's difficult to buy brown bread over here. In fact, I've never actually seen real wholemeal bread over here. I've seen something that looks like half white, half brown, but never fully brown. I don't know what it is. It's like... whoever makes the bread, like the bread companies over here, it's like they're scared to do real, fully brown, fully wholemeal bread. I don't know what it is. Some reason. There must be some reason. So because we've been enjoying this brown bread, this wholemeal bread so much, I bought this bread maker, and then I went to look for the flour for making bread, and you can only get white flour for making bread, so I can only make white bread, which should have been pretty obvious, I suppose, really, given the fact that it's so hard to find, well, impossible to find brown bread over here. So I'm going to try and order some special flour. Well, it's not special, it's just wholemeal flour, it's wholemeal like bread flour, which you can probably pick up from any supermarket in the UK, but no, I've got to go to the internet to get that kind of specialist, real wholemeal flour in Japan for some reason. But anyway, I'm looking forward to that, and I'm hoping it will turn out okay. My parents had a bread maker in the past and made bread with it, and I was never impressed with the bread. I always thought, okay, maybe it's better for you because you don't have to put any like the weird chemicals that they put in to make bread last longer. You don't have to put any of that rubbish in. So maybe it's sort of healthier. But it didn't taste very nice. It wasn't very good. Like the texture was wrong, the flavor was wrong. It smelled nice. I think it smelled nice. But yeah, I don't remember enjoying it at all. So I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know, I don't know if it's going to work out well or not work out well. But yeah, I wanted to give it a go because I was just sitting there this one morning, just eating this brown bread. And I was thinking, wow, I've really, well, I was thinking this when I was in England and I got to try it again for the first time. I was thinking, wow, I really missed having access to easy access to being able to buy, good quality bread. So I was sitting there in Japan eating it one morning and I thought, I've just got to do something about this. Maybe just try something like the bread maker. And it wasn't actually my idea anyway, because when I was in England and I was staying with my parents, my father decided to get the bread maker out and try making some bread. And he used like the wholemeal flour to try and make wholemeal bread. And he was saying like, look, if you can't buy it in Japan, just make it yourself. Get one of these machines and make it yourself. And the funny thing was, as he was making it, the machine broke. And it just ended up being this like lumpy, weird thing. And he tried to put it in the oven and like finish off the rest of it, let it like cook in the oven. And it came out and it was just, I don't know what it was. It looked a bit like bread. It smelled a bit like bread. No, I didn't even taste it because it was just wrong. Like it didn't cook properly and it was soft and like a bit soggy and horrible. So that didn't really give me a good impression, I suppose, but it did give me a good idea. It did make me think, yeah, actually, maybe I should just, give it a go. Try this, try to make my own bread and see if I can make bread better than the bread that you get in the supermarkets in Japan. But anyway, I feel I've spent far too much time speaking about bread, so I will leave this episode there for now. I will say one more thing before I go. I am going on holiday, a very short holiday, just staying over for one night in a hotel with my wife, and I decided to do that just because I've gone to England for 2 weeks, and she's just been staying in the apartment here in our flat, just waiting for me to come back. And I thought, that's not very exciting, is it? So we're going on a short break over the weekend, and it's by a beach, and it's in a place called Chigasaki, I think, from memory. I think I'm remembering that correctly. Anyway, I shall look forward to telling you all about it next time. So until then, bye-bye.